Welcome into the Players Club, presented by Pepsi. The Players Club is presented by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders. And in part by Johnson Kendall Johnson, the official insurance broker and risk management partner of the Washington Commanders, where our passion is your protection. Now for your hosts, London Fletcher, Santana Moss, and Shawn Springs.
Happy New Year from the Players Club. I'm London Fletcher, joined by my man Santana Moss,
Yep.
Cowboy Killer.
It is I.
And we got Shawn Springs, a.k.a. Bluefoot. Okay, I need to get my a.k.a. Big Fletch. How about that?
Yeah, Big Fletch.
Fellas, we bringing in the new year with the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Playoffs.
It sounds good, man.
Sounds great. Blue, how you feel about that?
Man, I am so excited for the organization, man, because it's just growing up in the Washington, D.C. area, I know how important it is for this team, and people forget this is a new regime, transition, new quarterback, everything's new. The community was hungry for a winning that we and like you said, on the road, at home, man, this is a big deal for the city, man.
Yeah. Tanner, you were at the game. You did a pregame show, postgame show.
Yeah.
You, BC, B. Mitch, the energy, excitement. What are you feeling about this, man? How are you feeling? I should say.
I mean, the one thing that I mentioned on the postgame show, it's a walk that we take from the press, from the suite to the hallway before we go out there on the field, and it seems like it's the same walk. We up in the game, and by the time we get down there to watch the rest of the game, it's a game.
Yeah.
It's one of those gut-wrenching games, like, oh, man, like this team done got back in it. But just to say that, man, our team find a way to be resilient and go out there and get the job done. So I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic to say the least. I think, the thing that I'm most, I guess you can say, since we in the holiday season, joyful about just to watch the fans, man, interacting with them, seeing how they don't leave the stadium once it's over. They still in the seats talking to us while we getting ready to do our post-game show. It's an unbelievable time right now to be a Commander fan, being up here in D.C. I remember our years when we had some of our playoff runs.
Yeah.
Man, it was like no other, and right now I'm having that same feeling.
You know what? It just, this season feels different from obviously when we're in it as players, those are the two times I made the playoffs when I played with you guys. We were always in a battle to get to it at the years. We had to go on a 2007 had to go on a 4-game winning streak. 2012, Tanner, we had to go on a 7-game winning streak. But this year, the way we've been able to go about it, and the games, winning last-minute games, the throw, the Hail Mary against the Bears, the game-winning touchdown against the Philadelphia Eagles last week. Coming into the stadium, cars lined up. It felt like a mile of cars. Coming into the stadium, the parking lot, the concourse, the excitement pregame, and then once the game started, and then just being able to be a part of it, obviously playing here, but being a broadcaster now and just watching
electricity.
Watching, I said it like this: Superman don't wear a cape anymore; he wears number 5, man.
Number 5, that's right.
And the sky's the limit with this team, and the reason why I say the sky's the limit is because of Dan Quinn.
Yes. Yeah.
Dan Quinn has these guys believing that they can beat anybody. Anybody. Doesn't matter what the situation is, what the score is. They're down 10 points at halftime. What happens? Defense holds the Falcons to 7 points in the second half, and we scored 30 in the second half in overtime. 23 in the second half in overtime. Man.
Yeah.
So,
unbelievable time, like I said before, man. And, since we on that bringing in the new year type thing, we going to ring in the best plays of 2024. So I'm going to start this off. I'm going to ask you guys, man, what's your favorite game this season?
That's a good one. That's tough. The obvious for, I can tell you from the show, we all came in after the Chicago game, just mind blown.
Yeah.
I think for me, if I had to do it, it wasn't necessarily my favorite game, but it just something was different. When we won that Monday night game, and I just, for some reason, that Jaden throw to Terry and Terry's energy on the sideline, and then you telling me, hey man, it was that might have been I remember you saying that might have been the catch and the combination that might have sparked Terry, because we've been talking, and it just felt like that team felt like they could win, and I was like, oh, we might have something special. So for me, it might have been the Cincinnati Monday night game.
Oh, that was Sunday night, right?
Sunday night game.
No, that was Monday night.
It was Monday night. It was Monday
football.
night game, right?
Oh yeah, you're right.
But if you think about it, up until that point, to your point about the sparking the connection between Jaden and Terry. Up until that point, they hadn't made any deep connection.
Right.
They had a couple in that ball game. I'm gonna say this, man. It's been a lot of great games this year. Obviously, the Chicago game, that Monday Night Football game. I will say last weekend's game against the Philadelphia Eagles. That for me it wasn't a pretty game by any stretch, the 5 turnovers, but to be able to overcome that and to win it in the manner that we won that ball game. That right there, and against who we won.
The Eagles, right.
The Eagles, the cream of the crop in our division right now had, hey, they were competing for the number 1 seed, but to be able to do that and win that game, and there were so many moments that Jaden had, that the team had, that, we needed everybody to make plays, especially late in that ball game, and it happened, and, this signature throw, catch to Jamison Crowder, who's, man, the catch. So I'm gonna go with that game against the Eagles here.
I think I'm with Blue on this one. I think that Cincinnati game stood out to me, and I was the one that came in here and I told you, I say, man, the way it got me crunk, because just to see Terry feel the way he felt, we had never shared that kind of moment together. I've talked to him, numerous times walking through the building, or anytime I had to do an interview with him. But just the sense of, I got weight off my chest, shoulders, you name it, whatever you want to call it. And what he said was, now he knows. You know what I mean? His quote was, he know now, Tanner. He could throw that ball up to me and come down with it.
Right.
And trust me, man, I'm a ball catcher. So when you have that kind of sense of, I guess you can say clarity when it comes to just, man, okay, I don't have to sit here and think no more. I don't have to be, I don't have to, man, bro, that's the worst thing about being a receiver, leaving that huddle and questioning, is he going to come my way this time?
Right.
Yeah.
I know I'm in the progression. Is he going to, I'm going to get open. Is he going to look my way? And folks they don't understand it. You know what I mean? And Fred talk about it all the time, about just how that's the reason why he shied away from the position as a kid, because you have to depend on so much, you know what I mean, from the line protection, then the quarterback to get you the ball, and hell, just the damn offense alone, the scheme, just to go your way, you know what I mean? So when Terry's gave me that quote and that hug, and we shared that little moment, I knew right then and there it was on. It was go time for those guys.
Yeah. Fred also couldn't catch. That's why he shot away from the position.
That's a great point.
Hey, how many picks did he drop?
A whole bunch. We ain't gonna get in there.
I couldn't pass that one up. I know you were talking great about Terry, so I was like, I'm gonna wait, but I'm not letting this moment pass.
I saw it brewing, man. Okay, so since we chimed in on our best games, give me one of your best plays of 2024.
So many, man. So many.
Hell Noah.
Yeah.
Hell Noah. It's when you watching it and Jaden is back there and he's running around and I'm like, you got to throw it. Like, is he going to get the ball off? And for him to throw that football and the execution and guys being exactly where they needed to be.
Yeah.
That showed the preparation that the coaching staff, the attention to details, everybody being exactly where they needed to be. And conversely, the lack of attention to detail by the Chicago Bears, how it became chaotic for them because of their lack of attention to detail. So that's a play when, 30, 40 years from now, hopefully we're all still around when they say, where were you when? I was in the broadcast booth when that happened. You would say, I was such and such when that play happened.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the greatest plays we talked about in the history of this franchise. It's amazing. For me, that was, no doubt, I think that's for all of us. But if we don't miss that field goal, the next Terry's catch against the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
And him weaving through and running down the sideline, man. I was like, could we possibly have had two
of those,
of the greatest? like that was an unbelievable. I just like, hey man, you're right, Superman. He's a magician, Superman, whatever you want to call him. But that play against the Cowboys in that moment, after we'd all and just Terry just I mean
that would have been an iconic play in the Washington-Dallas rivalry.
Yeah.
But now it goes into infamy because we lost the game.
But I remember seeing that play, and I'm just like, are we serious right now? Could this be possibly happening again? I just thought that was this unbelievable play, man.
It's hard to choose from, man. I think there's so many different plays, so I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to pick something that probably didn't stand out to everybody, but it stood out to me. The interception by Dante Fowler.
Oh, yeah.
That interception, just the run, just everything about it. I think that was like a spark for him, really, to kind of do some of the things he did. I think right now, if you look back at this last game, he's up to 10.5 sacks now. And so when you look at the whole transition of after that moment of having that interception, we had him here on the show one time, and he said that's a moment that he's been thinking about all his life. He's been he's a guy that grew up playing, the tailback position. His dad was a tailback. He's a Florida boy, so he said, that's how we do it now. When we get that ball in our hand, we get missing.
Y'all know what to do.
You know what I'm saying? And so
he hit him with the LeBron crossover.
Right? Just to know that a defensive guy have that kind of, ability, and not even just the ability, he been waiting for it. He been waiting to bring it out. So I had to give him his flowers, man, and say that was one of my favorite and probably best plays of 2024.
It's been so, when you to think about that, there's been seasons where we would struggle to come up with like favorite play, favorite games. The fact we're sitting here currently 11 wins on the season. Right. And I mean, even in the losses, you can, like you picked the Terry play.
The Cowboys,
there's been moments and plays in every single game where you're like, man, that's a highlight type of play. That's a memorable play of the season. I mean, you talk about a game against the Carolina Panthers. I mean, there was, so many other plays in games against teams. It was just like.
We can actually pick up like every week and say Louisville make a play that week. We can say one of the best plays of the
Baltimore Ravens game where Jaden hits Terry on the fourth down play, the perfect ball. Like there's so many memories. The game against the Giants in New York. Right. Another type of play like that. The De'Ami Brown big ball for 50 yards against the Eagles. Last week. So there's
backed up coming out.
How huge was that play?
Right.
Yeah, so many of them, man. And I think that's one of the things that you get from having the season that we have. It's a lot of that's half of the reason why we're where we at, because you have guys going out there and putting, I guess you could say, they imprint on the game to make a difference. Speaking of, we already talked about, favorite games, plays. What are some of your favorite moments this year with the fans, man? Whether it's from rallies or from the trips that we take, London, we get a chance to see them on the road, or just even at our, our home, interacting with them at home.
I'll say this, the difference in, so I'm traveling, I'm on the plane a couple times a week, and a lot of times I'll have on some Washington Commanders gear, and the response by not just our fans, but people that might not even be fans of our team, be like, man, y'all got a good team. The compliments. But then when we go to, like we're in New Orleans, in Tampa Bay, and the amount of support, I wasn't in Arizona, but you were out there, just the amount of support and the appreciation that they have for us, but we also have for them. We appreciate y'all coming out, supporting us, spending your money, your time, your effort, your resources to support this football team. I'm always, and I know I'm sure you guys feel the same way, I'm always cognizant of letting them know, we appreciate you guys. Those guys on that field need you guys. They need that support. It means a lot.
Yeah, and for me, growing up in the area, I just know, all my boys from high school, they man, I ain't going to the game no more. How disappointed people have been.
For so many years. And then just, these guys, it's like, man, oftentimes we forget our performance on our field, and that the looking forward to seeing Sunday, what it does for every the person's life. Man, you know what? I had a
week, but my team.
right. Exactly.
My team won.
Yeah.
Right. Or like, how excited people are looking forward to, the conversations around, and Jaden is, bro, we got something, know, and it just, and just how, and again, how it brings the community together. Because I'll be seeing people out, man, and it's like, man, we loved y'all. We loved you when you played and stuff, but man, these boys playing some football,
Yeah.
And before I used to walk around and they'd be like, man, I know who you is. I don't even know half the guys on this team. Now we got guys making these memories you're talking about becoming household names. Frankie LaVue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Martin, Mike Sinistril. So they started calling by their nicknames and stuff, so they can becoming familiar with it. So I love seeing that.
Hey, how about this? And I know we're talking about fans. What about Jeremy Reeves with the proposal last night?
That was different.
Yeah.
Hats off to him.
How do you execute that? So the game is over. You got to get your lady on the field.
I guess he had it all planned out. If we win in this thing, must be had someone
bring her, but you got to bring her down to the
right
field.
in the family section. That's close in the back of that end zone.
So come on down.
Come on down. I tell you
so they had someone already like, hey, if everything goes as planned, get him. And I'm not even sure if he said that's planned. He probably just had on his mind saying,
He had the ring, yo.
Yeah, he had the ring. So I'm not sure, but that was. It was beyond me because I'm like, oh, that's dope, bro. You know what I mean? And just knowing Reeves, the way he's going out, smacking guys in the head, playing the way he plays, man, just to see the little softer side of him, man.
You like that? You a soft dude, Tyler. Tyler, you got that soft side out.
And Tanner was in a group, man. He
was a singer, man.
Tanner was a singer, man.
Hey, I feel lips to tell a lie.
I can see him in a dance group.
I don't have no rhythm to dance. So y'all can go tell these people all these fibs that y'all want to, you know what I mean? Nah, but since we talking about the fans, I want to mention one of the things that I enjoy. We talked about being on the road. We talked about some of the things that Shawn experienced. I think just I'm always have a couple of people with me at the games, and we played the game, so we accept it because we understand the comfort of the territory. So we understand the fans is going to always recognize you, especially when you was a guy that went out there and did your job at a high caliber. I enjoy the love that my family or friends feel from having that experience. They don't know how it is to be in our shoes. Yeah. They never walked a mile when it comes to what we had to be as professional athletes or football players. And the joy they get out of seeing the fans interact with me. One of my closest friends, his cousins up here, and we kind of showing them something different. You got to get a guy from out of Miami and say, man, look, this is a little better way of living up here. Yeah. You could do the same thing down there if you want to go find a job. There's plenty of them out here. Right. When he get a chance to walk in that state, you would think he played because now he can just walk around. They know him first name and everything. Right. And he lights up, bro. He's like, man. And I say, yeah, bro, but this is, this is the world we in. Yeah. And it's not just because you play ball. You have to be, handling your business out there. Right. Because them fans will show you and tell you.
That's right.
They will be on the other side of that. Man, get out of here, man. Who you think you is? Right. You know what I mean? But just the joy every week, every time he get a chance to go to a home game, man, he's loving it. So I enjoy the fact that he gets the chance to, feel like he feels off of just some of the things that I went out there and sweated and, did everything else for. But that's the joy you get from the fans. That's what the fans give back to us. And think about it. We ain't play ball. I ain't playing 10 years, Right. Pretty sure you guys are a little longer, but that goes to show you, man, these guys going to always remember you, especially if you went out there handling your business.
Impact, man. Impact that you can have on this area, the DMV, man. Yeah. The fact you can be in Maryland, be in Virginia, heck, I was in the Bahamas last week. It was fans down there in the Bahamas.
We always, growing up, we were the big dogs in there. And since Baltimore been winning, they the big dogs in. We ain't no little brother. We ain't the step brother no more. It feels good to know that they got a team here in the DMV.
Last but not least, give me a moment of memory this year as a broadcaster.
Man,
like doing this show or broadcasting?
It don't matter. You can just talk about your moments.
We had some fun times on this show, man. Just the cracking of the jokes and the reminiscing of the stuff that happened when we played.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, with the Bram cam, the video camera in the booth.
Yeah, y'all getting some national recognition now.
Hey, and I'm just being me. Like when plays happen,
he caught it
right, and they like, man, you about to knock Bram out the booth.
Fletcher hit Bram with that left hand.
I told Bram he got to get his weight up, man. I'm just.
I can see Bram right now. New Year 2025.
Hey, baby, do some curls on his arm.
Get ready for Fletch.
So for me, it's the Hail Noah, that play, and then the touchdown, the game winner against the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Those two are both the same.
Yeah. For me, this year, when we having guys on the show, it was one thing like that kind of give me goosebumps every time I think about it. How many guys did we have come on the show talk about brotherhood?
Yeah.
How many guys that we come in here was just talking about like, I want to play for him. I love playing for DQ.
Yeah.
Jaden is leader. Like, so it's always interesting you learning, like we learn something about somebody every week. Dante from Florida, he always wanted to be running back. We learned about coins. People having babies the day week before, And for me, it was about this really having a chance to see like these guys genuinely love being in this organization and playing for Coach Quinn, excited about it. Frankie was cool, or Mike, just Cosby. All the guys were great. Yeah. So I just love that. They got a little bit of that locker room feel came back when we had those guys on the show. So that was big for me.
I always get a thrill out of having the guys on the Players Club because you get a chance to, one, meet the guy, you know what I mean, and know him outside of being a player.
Right.
Two, they get a chance to know who we are because half the time those guys hear our name, see us, but they really don't know. You know what I mean? And that's when I feel like we get that, we kind of share that bond of knowing that we ex-players, bro. I mean, I know you might see us on the other side. Don't think that we sitting over there and ready to write something bad about you. We want to big you up, you know what I mean? We want to pick you up and talk great about you. But once they leave this room, the interaction you get afterwards. Now, when you see them at the stadium, they was, what's up, Tanner? You know what I mean? Because now you broke that barrier. You broke that wall. And so that's what I get a kick out of. And just knowing I got your back, bro. I'm here to talk great about you. You know what I mean?
We're going to hype you up.
We're going to hype you up for sure.
To your point, so last weekend, after the Philly game, I met OZ for the first time with Olamide Zaccheaus, and people like, how's that? A lot of times we're just passing by. Right. They're in meetings, they're doing their thing, they're on the practice field. We're around, but we don't get a chance to actually, a lot of times to just have a introduction, stuff like that. So I finally introduced myself because we were about to interview him, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? I'm London. And so he's like, hey, nice to meet you. And so about 5 seconds passed, he's like, London Fletcher? So he's like, oh man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But just it's real.
Because think about it, as players, man, I remember Doc Walker and
B. Mitch
and all those guys. And we knew a little more about B. Mitch was playing when I got in the league still. Doc was a guy that he was doing a lot of the broadcast stuff, and I would see him in the building. But Doc is a different kind of dude. He gonna go out his way and have a conversation with you. And so when you have that relationship, especially Doc just being an offensive guy and well-spoken, always got something to say.
Shout out to the DOC.
DOC.
Shout out to the DOC.
And DOC actually got me, he was the first. I did my first show, after, I retired with Doc.
Oh, did you?
On NBC, yeah. Doc scared the crap out of me, man. I'm sitting at that desk. Doc went out, and I'm like, oh. I got to deliver like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was a fun experience. But just going back, seeing how that moment was for me as a player, I could just imagine how the players look at us. Yeah. Some of them kind of timid to even say hi. You know what I mean? You got other guys who've been around here long enough to know us a little personally. So it's always a joy, man, just to get them on the Players Club, because this is where they get to come and be themselves.
Yeah, be
and
themselves,
understand
man.
that we just like them, man.
Yeah.
We played this game and we just now, having a blast of being able to share our memories and their fondest memories, right now, this far in their career.
All right, fellas. It's that time of the show, man.
Ooh.
I got to break him out.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. give a shout out.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that ice for Christmas.
I give a shout out to the respect. Hey, London, we all got to wear the respect around.
Yeah, respect
our
legacy.
name.
Yeah, shout that out, man. Hey, this right here, respect legacy.
I gotta get me one of those.
Dope, man. Pick it up on the website, commanders.com.
Yeah.
Fanatics.
I was gonna say Fanatics. I'm pretty sure Fanatics.
I saw this. I said,
They should have.
I saw this. I had to cop this one.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, man, this would be a nice gift for all the former legacy players.
Yeah.
Hint.
I see Big Fletcher. I might have walked up on him and like, man, what size is that? Let me take that off. I would have took it all, Big Fletcher. We was in Cleveland. I took it up.
Let's say you don't want him to tap back into his old self.
I might take it. They call you back. I might take that off, Big Fletcher.
Listen,
You better want to tap back into that.
You better hope you meet London and not Big Fletcher. That's all I'm gonna say.
Let's say don't make him tap back.
I come up there, young fella.
I heard.
There, young fella.
Hey, I heard the old Fletcher used to take people lunch. He was taking lunch milk.
That was
Bam. Bam, you really don't want to be Bam. Bam is I don't even like to go in my memory bank.
Oh my God.
You know how you like, damn, I can't even. My
Fletcher's
daughter,
a bully, man.
so I'm talking to my kids the other day. I don't know how we got to talk about punching somebody or whatever. It's like, I think I was telling Steele, like, I'm gonna give you a knuckle sandwich or whatever, something. And Brooke was like, this is my baby girl. She's like, you ain't never hit nobody. I was like, what? She's like, I was like, yes. She's like, why would you punch somebody? I said, you know what? I'm gonna let her have that image of me. I'm gonna leave it there. I said, Brooke, you're right. I would.
We don't do that, baby.
Right. All right, man. It's time to hand up these dubs of the week, man. Gotta recap the game against the Falcons. Tanner, who you gonna get a dub to or dubs to?
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those situations where we all probably going to say the one guy, so I'm not even going to mention him. I'm gonna stay in my room, the wide receiver room. I'm going to say Zacchaeus.
Yeah,
I'm going to give him his flowers, man. I think, we talked about the last ball that he missed there. I know he want back. I know now he's probably thinking about that, eating breakfast, getting ready to come over here just to watch film and stuff. But it's one of them situations, man, where Terry didn't have his day, his normal or his usual day. Mm-hmm. And somebody had to step up. And, when you have a receiver and Noah Brown down, we're looking for that next threat. We're looking for that next weapon on the offense, especially on the outside. And Zacchaeus had a day. Not only did he have a day, he actually had a day against his old team. The Eagles had 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Then he dubbed up and said, "Hey, you know what? I was a Falcon one time too.
Yeah.
With DQ,
Mm-hmm.
and he showed up. Man, he would have had 2 touchdowns again. It would have been back-to-back games. This guy having 2 touchdowns if it wasn't for that late penalty from Cosby on the other one. So
which questionable,
which is very questionable.
Very
we ain't gonna talk about Foot Lockers. We ain't talk about those refs. We got to give them their flowers for seem like to be lopsided all the time when it comes to giving us all the flags or whatever. But stick to the strip. Zacchaeus get the dub of the week. I think he went out there and played phenomenal. He's definitely one of those guys that you can honestly say, man, when we need him to make a play, man, he's right there doing so.
I'm gonna pull a Tanner on you because Tanner sometimes he'll be like, I'm gonna go with a coach. Right? I'm gonna go with the organization.
Mm-hmm.
It is so easy to say we made the right decision, but it's so easy to say they made the wrong decision.
Mm-hmm.
I think this organization, picking Jaden, the guys they brought in, like OZ and the rookies and Louvu, free agency. We talked all year about the free agencies and the impacts they've made. For us to, 4 wins last year?
Yeah.
To win and a playoff berth at home, still a possibility for the 6th seed.
Yeah.
Yes.
At home, in front of our home crowd, and give what we've been talking about back to the community. You got to give a shout out to the ownership, leadership. Dan Quinn. Just everything seems to be going right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I just want to give a shout out and say thank you, man, because that's big, bro.
Yeah.
It is really big, and we talked about it. So my dub of the week is to getting into the playoffs since how long has it been since we've been in the playoffs?
2020.
2020. Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
2020.
We came in the back.
How long has it been since we had 11 wins? 1991?
1991.
Yeah. Right.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Super Bowl year '91. They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was the last time we had 11
and that's arguably one of the better teams that they had in the
ever. In the history of the league. So now we're talking about an amazing team that gave us special moments, brought the fan base back, the community excited about it, and we got a playoff berth.
I got 2 dubs that I'm going to give out. And the first one, Santana. I'm going to give it to the coaching staff. And the reason I give it to the coaching staff is because coaches, people want to know why these coaches get paid all that type of money. You get paid through the week, obviously, come up with a game plan, preparing your team. But you really earn your money with the in-game adjustments that you make, and especially the adjustments you can make at halftime. And you look at the game in the first half, we're down 10 points, was not playing good football. The Falcons had rushed for over 100 yards. Offensively, it was just off kilter, bunch of penalties, couldn't get the run game going. Nothing was going our way. The adjustments that they made at halftime, when you come out and you see we held the Falcons to 7 points, we scored 23 points. Our run game got going, ended up with, I think, 216 yards rushing. The adjustments we made to
like you said, clock management.
The adjustments they made to that package that the Falcons was coming with, they were showing a look one way, bringing a blitzer off the other side, and we were having a lot of trouble with that. The adjustment, it was like 3 different adjustments that we made, maybe even 4 different adjustments we made to that, and that was the difference in us winning that game. And then I'm gonna give my second dub to 2 guys in the secondary. The 2 safeties.
Yes.
Quan Martin and Jeremy Chin. Yeah. Quan had the pick, had another big hit that dislodged a ball. And also there was a play by Jeremy Chin on the sideline. Broke up a pass on the big third down. So got to get, and he had a big hit down the middle as well. So shout out to those guys as well.
All right, man. So this is my favorite time of the show, man. Drive times with your boy. 89. Gotta get a little theme music. Picture me with some shades on. It's time for Drive Time, presented by Eastern Automotive Group. Any car, any way, for everyone. Since 1988. So this is how we start in drive time. Did you know the other night game against the Atlanta Falcons, the overtime win. The last time we had an overtime win was against Dallas Cowboys, 2014. I don't remember, but you might remember.
I was done playing that.
Yeah. But guess what? We got them coming up this week.
Yes, sir.
So give me some of your memories of. I know we had some memories with the Cowboys, but some of y'all fondest memories of playing up against those boys.
Man, I tell you what, it's just the physicality of the games. I played for 3 different organizations: the Rams, Bills, and obviously here. And every team has their kind of rivalry game. Yeah. But that rivalry definitely hit different and felt different. Like it was truly the Dallas week. When you walking around town, when you're out, the fans, hey, it's Dallas week, and all the excitement, the intensity of the game. I just remember how many, the physicality of those games, man. Like you were recovering. It took you 3 or 4 days to recover from them games. That's my memories of going against the Cowboys. Obviously, the wins overweigh the losses, and especially when we won games in Dallas.
That's always nice. Now we always talk about your game. I was part of that experience, but I'm gonna take it back a little further. But this is why I knew Dallas week was serious. When my dad played for the Cowboys, they came and played at RFK. And I don't know if y'all remember, if you're football fans, but that's when they got into. I was sitting in the stands. I never forget. They got into a big brawl in a corner. You talking about punching people. Man, they were scrapping back and forth, going back and forth. So I knew right then as a little boy watching that game, these teams really don't like each other.
Right.
So with that in the back of my mind growing up, I knew that Dallas was a big rivalry, but that's a fond memory in my mind. Like, man, these teams, they look, Drew Pearson, Tony Dorsett, my dad, all of them, right? Everybody in the, Ed Too Tall Jones against, Darryl and all those guys was out there, the Hogs. So that was my one of my memories, early memories. But just it's for me personally, man. And I had a chance to witness it. But my fondest memory with Dallas had to be that Monday night 2 touchdowns. And the reason why it was so big to me, because I remember Tanner's face and how pissed he was he wouldn't get the
Oh my God.
like he was so upset. And I was like,
38. 38. That's how how we say it back in 38.
So
I was 38.
that's my memory, man. So
well, the rivalry was kind of sprung upon me. Like, how think about it. You played for 3 different organizations. I played for 2. When I was in New York, you had your division opponents. I was a Jet, so we had the Dolphins, New England, the Bills, and Naptown. Yeah, those Colts. The Colts got out our division, so it was just the other guys that I mentioned. New England was the Dallas game for me when I was a Jet. Every time I played New England, it seemed like I just went and did something special, and not to know that was going to be the team that's winning the Super Bowl every year while I was over there. Right. And then I come here and it's the second game of the year, my first year here. So I had played Dallas once before as a Jet and didn't really know how much this game meant to the city. But I knew it was a rivalry. I just didn't know how much it meant, because you got the Giants, then you have, who else we have? We have the Eagles, you know what I mean? So I didn't know which one, carried more weight.
You just know they in the
So
NFC.
I'm just like, hey, this is the second game of the season. It's a divisional game. I'm going there with no intentions of just, I'm playing football. I'm not, it ain't big. It's not the biggest game. It's Monday night, but I just have an even keel about me when it comes to those games. I'm not trying to get too high because I know that can shadow all your things that you're trying to prepare to do. So, to see what happened, and like I say, people would tell me about that moment like as if it happened yesterday. And I'm sitting there with a straight face. They're like, Tanner, you don't remember it? Yeah, I remember. I did it, But they were like, why you don't feel so special? And I'm like, no, I do. I love every moment about it. It's just to know that it happened so late in the game and it wasn't probably my best game. Right, So to have that moment in that game, then to know that, okay, it's on now. From now on, I have to have these kind of moments against these guys. And it's hard to do. It's hard to do. But it seemed like every time I got a chance to play these guys, even if I wasn't having that kind of a season, the coaching staff would come to me like, Tanner, you ready? Cowboys week. I'm like, I was ready last week. Why I ain't get the damn ball last week, Coach? You want to wait you for the Cowboys? You want to wait till the damn Dallas game? Save me for the Cowboys. Going over here every week.
Man, I got as you were talking, and I just got to reminiscing. That's why I'm over here smiling. And I got to thinking about the 2012 winner take off of the division, that Sunday night football game, man. And they flexed our game.
Flexed it.
That made it. That was the last game of the regular season, 2012, for the crown. Whoever won that game was going to be NFC East champs and make the playoffs. And man, it feels like yesterday. I remember how it felt that morning when I woke up. The drive to the stadium. There was an intensity. You guys probably remember I was very quiet on game day. I didn't want you talking to, but it was even a deeper level.
I ain't talking to you anyway, Fletcher. You ain't talking to me like he was serious. Hey, what up, Fletcher? Hey, what about Fletcher? Give him a head nod. What up, Fletcher?
Eyes red. I'm a nice guy. But I just felt even more ramped up and amped up in that game. I can just remember like, man, we about to bust their ass. Like, it's go time. And the way we beat them, we put in this defensive game plan. Man, they had no answer to this blitz package that we were coming up against them with. I mean, we had Romo shook. Right. They couldn't deal with us. And damn running back. Alfred Morris. Running for 200 on them dudes, man.
Thinking about it though, man, just think about it. And I don't want to get too long-winded on just our memories. Just think about some of the moments of the past that made this game special. You know what I mean? The Theismans, the Emmitt Smith moments, the, Aikman. Like, what are one of those? Give me a memory of you being, I don't know, a kid or just a guy growing up, a teenager.
I told you the one was the big fight. I got a few. Darrell Green running down Tony Dorsett. Obviously, he was like my godfather, my dad's best friend. But Tony Dorsett was like Ain't nobody. Once T broke out, boom, he hit the sideline. It was over. You know, you're not catching him at that time, right?
Yeah.
So Darryl running him down showed the effort and to show why he was the fastest man in the NFL. That was crazy. And another moment I remember is just when the Hogs, I don't know what year it is, but you always see it back on NFL films. And Coach Gibbs talked about it a couple times when the whole team jumped up and dressed up in military fatigues and walked into the Cowboys Stadium. You see it every now and then, but I was just like, man, I would have loved to been a part of that. Like, you walking in, we ready for war, baby. So those are the two memories, like, man, the old legacy dude.
Right, yeah. Speaking of Doc Walker, Doc has told this story several times where it was a game, I think, late against the Cowboys.
Right.
And Joe Gibbs would call one play, and the quarterback and the offensive lineman, I think it might have been Russ Grimm or somebody like, no, we want to run this power play, this counter trail, whatever the play was. And like they kept running it over and over and over again. And they were literally telling, I think it might have been Big D tackle. Was it Randy White for them?
Yeah,
he was a monster.
Yeah,
you know him.
Yeah, Randy White.
Like, they kept telling him,
Harvey Martin,
we about to run this play. Like, you better strap up. And they just pounded it. And Rigo just to hear that story. And then when he told the story, I actually went back and looked at the game footage.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you talk about a guy, I think of beauty, the way they ran that football. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
You know, speaking of those memories, man, I gotta admit, it's funny how we get motivated from off of different things we see. And that's one of the things that's special about this game. That's why I always tell my son, like, bro, the only way you're going to be able to have an effect on this game and do what you sought out to do with this game is watch it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, I've learned more from watching others play ball than me sitting up there looking at X's and O's. You know, honestly, you know, some of the things I do in the game, it comes, you know, people like, man, like, how did you do that? Well, it's instincts, for one, but also you saw a guy in that moment or in that situation from watching him, and you knew that, okay, I swear to God to you, bro, I run routes, and I remember watching other folks run these routes, and I remember the coverage in my head of how when that guy caught that corner, if it was covered too, if that safety was there, if he turned up, he gonna get smacked. So I would catch it and I would settle, act like I'm gonna turn up and then turn back in. Stuff like that. And you think it's subtle. It's in your game, but you learn how to kind of, you know, maneuver and be special and have those moments because of what you saw. Thinking back, we can talk about the memories of watching Aikman, them, you know, going up against his team. My fondest memory, man, was when I was in college and Randy Moss, first year, going against the Cowboys. And no, the Cowboys was on the clock and they didn't get a chance. I mean, he was still there and they didn't go after him. The man had 3 catches, 3 touchdowns, almost 200-something yards.
It was on Thanksgiving.
That moment there,
he had like 4 bombs on him.
It lives in the back of my head. And I swear to you, not only because it was Moss, but just knowing, that was my first NFL jersey too. It's crazy.
Randy Moss?
Randy Moss jersey was my first NFL jersey.
Shout out to my man.
I was a big Jerry Rice guy. We ain't had no money for no Jerry Rice jersey back then. But in college, you could afford a Randy Moss. No, check it. In college, it was a gift. It was a gift, man. You know, we had crazy fans, and this girl on my floor in my dorm room, her dad was a big diehard fan, and they gifted me a Randy Moss authentic jersey from
Shout
my
out to Miami doing NIL.
About to say the girl gifted you a jersey.
No.
Shout out to Miami for giving out NIL before NIL.
I know you ain't talking. The Ohio State, you know.
Hey, man. We do. It's time to set the tone, man. It's time to set the tone. Brought to you by Johnson Kendall Johnson, the official insurance broker and risk management partner of the Washington Commanders, where our passion is your protection. We got to set the tone. We got to talk about this. It's the second meeting against the Cowboys. First meeting didn't go our way. It's an opportunity for us to secure the 6th seed. Win 12 games in the season, 12-5, that'd be great. What adjustments do we need to make from that first game to this game against the Cowboys, Blue?
Well, first of all, if you would have asked anybody at the beginning of the season and you just put the records up of both teams, they would have said Cowboys with Dak and those guys have the record, and we would have been the team that's, you know, looking at, you know, a top 5 pick. One of the things I think when, and Coach Quinn talked about it, each week we stand level.
Yeah.
Dallas is Dallas.
Yeah.
Regardless, and we've been talking about it, of the records, Dallas is going to come to play us tough. Mm-hmm. They could be out CDM. They got Dak is out. They got Cooper Rush. They still have Dowdle. They still got Bland that's back. They got some guys that can play, but they don't have their team. Yeah. Right. But I guarantee you that they've been told by those fans and Jerry Jones, it means something. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I think as a team we have to come in and understand that is Dallas is going to play hard.
Yeah.
They're going to play physical. They're going to try to spoil our season. Regardless. Because that's the only thing they got is to beat us.
Yeah. So
we have to go down there and whoop them like we're supposed to whoop those guys. Yeah. But we also got to understand we're going to have to execute. Mm-hmm. I think our game plan, the way you said it earlier in the show, Brett, we make all adjustments. At this point, it's a mindset how bad we want to get to 12 wins. Mm-hmm. I think it's an attitude thing this week going down there. Understand if those guys ain't been in the organization, is important. Yeah. Dallas came up here and beat us. Yeah. It meant something.
Yeah. I think also we kind of gave them we allowed Cooper Rush. To get in a rhythm. I think it was a lot of layups we gave them. Those guys basically ran hitches on us and just moved the ball up and down the field. They took what we allowed them to do, and then they ran the ball well. So we can kind of combat a little bit on how we do things up front, slow down their running game. But at the same time, even if we don't, because we've seen our team allow teams to run on us and we still come away with a victory because we did enough when it came down to crunch time in the red zone to stop them and force them to a field goal.
Don't break.
We can't give them no layups on the outside, especially with CD Lamb out. We literally was giving them 5 to 7 yards, and they literally took advantage of it. Boop. Hitch out the hitch. They move themselves up and down the field, just throwing the ball right now. I think Rush is one of those guys that we know he can get rid of the football, so you got to bring something at him. You got to give him something a little funky enough to make him rattle a little bit. Take a little bit from what the Eagles did to him. I mean, that was a prime example. It's crazy that they still, was in rhythm earlier in that game without CD Lamb in the passing game, but once it got out of hand, it got out of hand. You know what I mean? So you just have to do what we need to do. And like I said before, it's not about them. And Dan said the best, when we get into these games, it's about us. What do we need to do to go out there and get the job done? And that's one of the reasons why I love this staff, because I rest assured that these guys are going to be prepared. Yep. Even when we saw this past weekend, man, like I was scratching my head a lot that first half. But I knew in the second half things was going to change. Yep. Defensively, we're going to find a way to stop these guys. Yep. Offensively, somebody going to step up and make a play.
That's right.
And that's just how it is. So I think those guys will have a good enough game plan to go on there and try to get a dub against them.
I think the biggest adjustments need to be made in the trenches. We lost the trench warfare on both sides of the ball against the Cowboys that game. And, we were not what we needed to be, especially in the run game. I thought Dallas, they came in there with the mindset they weren't going to let us run the football against them. Their defensive line they dictated the terms of the agreement in that ball game. They were able, you mentioned them being able to run the football. Coming into that game, they hadn't been running the ball that well, but, they had some success running the football. So it has to be a situation where it's going to be a hard watch from the O-line and D-line, and, you got to watch that game and you like, dang, I can't believe, this is the way we played against these guys. But it also is a motivated factor because you get an opportunity to right a wrong. Like, okay, they got the best of me that first time. Let me go out and even the score. Do you think
a little bit of motivation on Dallas defense had to do with those guys were coached by Coach Quinn?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like what that meant to them.
Yeah, I'm sure. And even, Mike Zimmer as a defense coordinator, hey, he know the affinity that those players have for Dan Quinn. Like, hey, I'm coming here. I'm the new guy. I want to make them look like
my defense. Your boys.
My defense is, we can ball too. So there was definitely some motivation in wanting to play extremely well, obviously against Dan Quinn. But we're trying to. This game has to mean more for us because we're playing for something.
Yeah.
We're playing for the 6th seed. The 12 wins, we win that. 12 wins, that'd be great. But we're still trying to solidify being the 6th seed, and 6th seed in the playoffs. So DQ's gonna have those guys ready to play. I don't question that at all. You can't allow Dallas to kind of hang around this game. A lot of those guys are already packed up. You want to give them a reason to maybe like, all right, you know what? It's just 1 hour year. Let me go ahead and get ready to hit crank that vehicle up and get up out of here. Right. That's it, man. It was a great kind of recap of this season and preview.
Who would have thought, man? We just started last week.
Yeah, man.
I know. This is your Ice Cold Player presented by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders. Welcome back to the Players Club. As promised, we got Tyler Biadasz joining us on the show.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
Tyler, we appreciate you coming into our humble abode, man.
Yeah, I know, man. Hell
the
yeah.
Players Club, man.
Hell yeah.
So this your 5th season in the league.
Yep.
First here in Washington. What has the transition been like for you coming over here?
Man, it's been a great experience. I mean, obviously, like coming from having a lot of guys in free agency, like coming to this organization, the revamp of the organization to new ownership, new GM, new coach. But no, it's been great to build that brotherhood. And, you know, obviously known DQ for the past 3 years, you know, where we've been at in Dallas. But, you know, just the overall experience has been so cool to just see us leveling up each and every week, coming from OTAs to camp to the season and just progressively having that growth mindset and that championship standard that DQ always talks about.
Speaking of that experience, man, you know, it's kind of hard, should I say, when you have so many new guys on the offensive line to kind of gel out the gate like that. What has, you know, attributed to you guys being able to gel and be, you know, playing the way you guys have been playing this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just attitude and like the work ethic. I think coming from OTAs and getting to know guys and everything like that, come out of free agency, but just getting to know guys like personally. I mean, like going out to eat, you know, having dinners, you know, with you know, the wives or girlfriends or whatever, and just kind of just gelling and creating chemistry off the field. I think it's just almost as important doing it in the building. Yeah. So, you know, we had that experience, you know, more so in OTAs and even a little bit through camp and during the season. Then it's just, you know, you're in the building all the time together. So that's like that's the main time you're getting the fits and how does this block and what footwork you're going to do and everything like that. So a lot of stuff to do with chemistry, and you know, I thought our O-line coach Bobby Johnson does a great job with us and bringing us together and, you know, making sure we get what we need and to be successful. And I think, you know, it's obviously showing, but just how I talked about before, like that growth mindset of never getting complacent and always taking it a step further. So, but no, man, it's been great just with the guys and great room in the O-line, man.
As we look at this free agency draft class and just free agents coming to sign throughout the league, you were one of the most underrated signings. If you look at what you've been able to do, you've been probably one of the best free agent signings throughout the National Football League. One of the things that you talked about coming over here is you wanted to be a leader. Yeah. How has that role and how have you embraced that leadership role coming over here and being a part of this?
I think, you know, I appreciate it. I think the biggest thing is the new experience, because obviously, like, I'm moving to a new place, a new environment, but also knowing, like, what the culture was at and, you know, how the organization was and, you know, playing Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne for all those years. But just to see it in their eyes and to have that, you know, feeling of like that winning, you know, trend and that, like, direction and having them of what they've wanted and needed for, like, those years. Yeah. And, you know, just to get right behind them, man. Yeah. And just get right behind them and wanting to have them, you know, what they've built too, you know, over the years as well. And to be a part of that, man, like, that was like the embracing role of, like, you know, whatever I can give, I'm going to give it, you know. And, you know, I think, you know, in OTAs, we had a great off season where we got to work with Navy SEALs and we got to do all these activities in different groups and everything and create our own standard of our team. And I thought that was the biggest thing about, you know, just the growth and the progress we had. I thought that was, like, the biggest week to just kind of evolve together as one. Yeah. And, you know, culture's not an easy thing, and that takes a lot of commitment, and it takes a lot of guys and a lot of sometimes hard conversations and everything. And to be a leader and you know, you got to put yourself out there too. So, I mean, I thought the biggest part was just, you know, having those conversations and having whatever we need to be successful, like whatever that is, just to embrace it and grind and just be gritty, you know?
Yeah, I love that hearing you talk about being a leader. And I think, you know, especially when you when you fit in that role and you got a young guy on your offensive line, rookie, Coleman, how's it been for you guys bringing him up to speed? And then, what's it been like for him just to see him out there doing his thing and playing alongside of you guys?
Yeah, man, he's been a great rookie. And I just go back to my experience, too, of like, how I had, I had Zach Martin and Tyron Smith, take me in when I was a rookie and how they led me and give off that experience as well and what I could have used or whatever. And that's everyone, whether it's Sam, Nick Allegretti, Andrew Wiley, Lucas, Cornelius Lucas, everyone that's a veteran in our room. And we have a good amount of guys that are above their 5th year. So, we all, brought them in, man. Be like, hey, man, like, check this out on the set or whatever, teach him ropes, everything, But, man, he's been just leveling up each and every week, man.
That's good.
Another rookie. The kid, Jaden Daniels, man.
Yeah,
85. I might just let you go. What has it been like? I know you played with Dak in Dallas, and I couldn't remember any other rookie quarterbacks have you played with, and what makes Jaden so special?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I write down in our offensive team meeting that we have is just protect number 5, man. And and that's the biggest part. And he's a very special talent, but for what he is on the field and how he is off the field and how he can just gel with guys, and just continue to grow. I mean, it was cool. It was a cool moment I saw when Noah Brown came in after camp, and he wasn't activated. I don't think the first week he was here, but when he was after practice, just throwing routes or telling him like, if this gives this coverage, like I'm gonna get it here or whatever and all this stuff. And we played New York, and the passes he had in New York and with Noah Brown late in the game, but it's like he just got here, and to be on the same page like that, we're gonna do whatever we need to do to make keep that pocket clean. But man, he's been great. But all I can say is like he is very mature. He is very mature in his growth over the season. You see it every week and how he evolves and whether it's the protections and the looks or what he sees on the reads, man. That's a lot for a defense, So I mean, and what what do you want to? We've seen so many different types of looks too. Yeah. So you get a variety, but he's seeing it all, which is great, especially this part of the season too. So, which is awesome. Look forward to.
That's good. I mean, not only are you stellar as a player, but you are as well off the field. Talk to me a little bit about Hometown Hero. Why is that so special for you? Yeah, no, me and my best friend back at home, we went to Amherst High School together, and we went to Wisconsin together, and he was the backup for Jonathan Taylor when we were there and everything. And he tried out in the NFL, and he got with the Raiders and everything like that. But he's out of the league right now. But we, as a hometown, we're only a town of 1,000 people. So, I thought it's very, very small town, but very tight-knit, and very special to us. But also, we had a lot of guys at Wisconsin and were from a small town and everything. And our kind of concept with that was like hometown hero in regards of like, a lot of these small schools, but all of us, even our college, former college teammates and everything like that, we can have that same type of camp in regards of like those smaller towns. Yeah. But it's never too big and never too small, right? Like it doesn't matter where you come from and everything like that. So, but no, just the special of like, where I come from and how I grew up and don't even look at, the percentage of getting here or there. It's just, manifestation, man. Just go after it, man. Like, reiterate it every single day, whatever you set your mind to, just believe in it and keep going forth.
Coming out of high school, you were actually recruited as a defensive lineman.
I was.
And then you made the switch over, me being a former linebacker, I call it the dark side, man. You went over to the offensive side, and obviously you play center now. What was that transition like, and how are you able to kind of tap into your background as a former D lineman that helps you when you're facing these defensive linemen?
Yeah. No, I mean, coming out of high school, it was interesting too because I went to Wisconsin camp and they were like, "You're the best lineman at the camp." They wouldn't really like specify, but I signed at the D-line scholarship, and then when I got there, I was like playing O-line. But it was an interesting transition. I mean, like I never snapped a football in my life, like up to that point. So it took me a year, redshirted. So but at the same time, I think what helped me along the way was like, all right, like like what do their feet look like? You know, how do they move laterally?
Yeah.
If they do move laterally, like how much power can they gain within their rush? Because I played a 5 technique, you know,
really?
defensive end in high school, you know, and I was a stand-up, so like I knew like, you know, some stuff, but obviously like at that level, like you could still kind of like imagine with like slide protection and everything like that, but a small school like mine, it's kind of like tougher to see it in more of a college program, but I just thought like the movements were very little bit raw at first in regards of like moving like an O-lineman, but in regards of like what they saw in me to like flip it, to see the field how you see it, and to, you know, biomechanically with like the movement and like how to get pad under pad with like, you know, slants and rocks and like, you know, tight shades and everything like that. Like it was cool just to like, you know, I had a lot of great veterans, and even like Michael Dieter, like he was a center at Wisconsin when I just got recruited there. So like I was like a sponge. I was like, you know, how to do all this stuff. So, but no, man, I mean, I think it definitely was an advantage, 100%. And you know, obviously thank Coach Rudolph and Coach Chris for making that switch.
I bet all the Burgundy and Gold faithful, they're definitely happy about you making that switch, man. Tyler, with all our guests, we ask them to autograph our football,
for sure.
man. Hopefully you can
absolutely
find a spot there, man. We appreciate you coming on the show, man. Joining us on the Players Club.
Yes, sir.
And that'll do it from the Players Club. We'll see you next time.